So if you're a fan of all these DC comic book characters right here, you're probably feeling pretty excited right now, and I am too. And rather than express my excitement, I'm just going to give you a visual interpretation of how I feel, and then we can talk about all the movies.
Oh my God!
Hey there guys, how are you? Welcome to a brand new movie news video where, well, we talk about the movie news. It just makes sense. And if you haven't heard already, between now and 2020, we are going to get 10 guaranteed comic book movies based on DC comic characters. Yeah, you can die happy now. Well, at least wait till 2020. And before we dive into this, I just feel like I gotta change the colors up back here. It just feels like it needs to be something a little bit more epic. How about this? Okay, so before we dive into this movie news, I break down each and every single one of these movies and give my thoughts on it and what might happen. Is this annoying back here? Are these strobe lights a little bit annoying? I feel like I'm in like a discotheque in 1978. I'll turn them off. Alright, so the first movie in the DC slate is going to be Batman v Superman, coming out in 2016, and this is my most anticipated movie in 2016. For the first time ever, we can see Batman versus Superman up on the big screen, and I just hope that that movie dedicates enough time to that aspect of it, rather than just setting up all the Justice League characters. Like, yeah, introduce them, but I want to see the main basis of that movie, Batman and Superman kicking each other's asses. So yeah, give me that and I'll be happy. And that film is going to be directed by Zack Snyder, who's also directing a few other films we're going to talk about in just a few seconds, known as the Justice League Part 1 and 2, but let's go to the next movie. Suicide Squad, also coming out in 2016, and before this announcement, I didn't really know much about Suicide Squad, but after doing some research, I can't wait to see this movie. It's about supervillains who are put in prison, and then they're allowed to do mercenary-type missions to reduce their sentences. It's like villains from the DC Universe meet the Expendables. How could that not be good? Plus Harley Quinn? That's gonna be sexy. And there's also rumors flying around that Tom Hardy might be cast in this movie. Yeah, he's already played Bane, but I would like to see him play another DC villain once again. And you know who I'd like to see him play? Deathstroke. Make Tom Hardy Deathstroke, and I will die happy. Plus, there's another rumor that he might play Apocalypse in the upcoming X-Men movie, but yeah, we'll talk about that in another video. Now, one of the things that gets me most excited about this upcoming Suicide Squad movie is it's going to be directed by David Ayer. And he also directed the movie Fury, which just came out. And if he can take that brutal, violent style and put it into this movie, I think we're going to have a badass movie on our hands, and I just hope Warner Brothers grows the balls and they're like, yeah, let's make it rated R, because that would be phenomenal. Okay, so let's move on to the year 2017, where we're getting our first big screen adaptation of Wonder Woman in quite a long time. The last time we seen her on screen, well, she was wearing big blue star-striped panties, and I kind of liked them. But anyway, Gal Gadot is playing the new Wonder Woman, and she has like a Xena warrior princess vibe going on. She's a demigod, and I kind of like those aspects about her. But the only thing I'm kind of on the fence about is if I'm actually going to like Gal Gadot with her acting ability as Wonder Woman. Can she carry a movie? So I'm just going to wait to see Batman v Superman, have her character be introduced in the movie, and I'll get a sense if I'm going to be excited for that movie in 2017. And then also in 2017, this is where we get the big one. This is the one we all wanted to see. For the first time ever, we're going to see a big live-action Justice League movie hit the big screen, and it's directed by Zack Snyder. Now, when it comes to Zack Snyder as a director, a lot of people have their doubts. Is he the right guy for the Justice League movie? And, well, I'm just going to say wait until you see Batman v Superman and then make that judgment. But for me, I think this is a perfect guy for the job because he's already directed an ensemble comic book movie with fantastical characters once before, and that was known as Watchmen. Yeah, he brought all these crazy characters together and made it believable, and you could buy into it as a viewer. And speaking of this movie being part 1, I have a very good feeling that they're going to direct part 1 and part 2 back to back and separate the movies. Now, is it going to be a continuous story? I hope in a lot of sense that it is, but I don't think they're going to leave you with a cliffhanger in part 1 where you're just like, I'm mad. I think they're going to set it up, have a payoff, and then have a nice little teaser at the end to set up another movie. I really hope it's good. Please be good. Alright, so let's speed things up and talk about the upcoming Flash movie in 2018, starring Ezra Miller. Now, that's an interesting casting choice, and I probably wouldn't have ever guessed that he would be the Flash. But it's interesting, and I think they casted him for a good reason. I'm sure they did. Now, a lot of people are assuming that this won't be Barry Allen's incarnation of Flash. It's actually going to be Wally West. And when you look at Ezra Miller and you look at Wally West, it just looks like that's the incarnation they're going to go with. So yeah, that would make sense if that's the case. Anyway, a Flash movie could be really cool. And then also in 2018, we're gonna see Aquaman up on the big screen. Now, over the years, I've made some jokes about Aquaman, and for those, I'm sorry, and I'm sure I'm gonna pay for them in 2018 when we see a big badass Aquaman movie. I just want to see Jason Momoa fight a shark or use a shark against somebody. That would be amazing. I don't know why, just give me that and I'll die happy. Yeah, I think they made the right casting choice with Jason Momoa in this role, because when you think about Aquaman, you think about this frail little guy wearing green tights, and he's like blonde, and he's just, you know, swimming around the sea. But when you look at Jason Momoa, you ain't gonna talk shit to that guy. You're not gonna be like, yeah, you talk to fishes. No, he's gonna take his trident and stab you in the spine with it. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to an Aquaman movie. And then in that following year of 2019, we get our first ever Shazam movie. Now, the character Shazam has yet to be cast yet, or there's been no announcement. I would assume that they're gonna have to cast two actors, a younger one and an older one, to coincide with the character Shazam. But yeah, speaking of casting, The Rock has been cast as Black Adam, who ties in very closely with Shazam. And I'm just hoping that Black Adam has a huge role in this movie, because the character Black Adam's almost a little bit more interesting than Shazam. And I hope that both these characters share the same amount of screen time. That way you have like a nice dynamic going on in the movie, and it just, I don't know, it could be more intriguing in that way. And then also in 2019, we get the epic conclusion to the second part of the Justice League movie. Now, I said this is Justice League Part 2, and like I said before, I don't think they're going to give us blue balls with the first Justice League movie. I think they're going to give us a setup and a payoff with a hint of something flowing into the next movie. So yeah, if they do something like that, I'll be completely happy, and it just makes sense to do it that way. But please, by the second Justice League movie, give us Doomsday and a hint of Darkseid. That's all I'm asking for. Please do that, Warner Brothers. And by the way, speaking of the first and second Justice League movie, if we want to know my thoughts on who I think is going to be the villain in the first movie, well, I made a video about that. The link's down below. Check it out. Okay, so let's move on to the year 2020. And I can't even, like, comprehend that. That's 6 years away. And here's my rule. I can get excited for a movie that comes out in, like, 3 years, but 6 years, it doesn't even seem like it's going to happen to me. Anyway, in the year 2020, we're supposedly getting a Cyborg movie, which out of all the characters, I'm really surprised they're giving Cyborg his own movie. Could this work? Absolutely. It could be a nice little smaller budget comic book movie. That'd be really cool. But I think that movie might happen or it might not happen depending on the success and the likability of the character in the Justice League movies. Like, if that character works and he's a fan favorite, he will definitely get his own solo movie. But if things don't work out, they probably won't give it to him. And then also in 2020, we're getting a rebooted Green Lantern movie. This is needed. This is necessary, and I'm just surprised that they're waiting until 2020 to do that. And here's the crazy thing to me, and I don't mind the schedule of all these movies, but it just seems like before we got a Aquaman movie, they would have thrown the Green Lantern reboot in that time slot and thrown the Aquaman movie last. I don't know. Like I said, it could be awesome either way. Okay, so that covers all upcoming 10 DC comic book movies between now and 2020. That's just crazy to even say that. And by the way, there's rumors flying around that we might see a solo Batman movie around 2018 to 2020. So yeah, more solo Batman movies, the better in my opinion. And it just makes sense. It's like, why would you put out a Cyborg movie without the plan of putting out a solo Batman movie? And by the way, speaking of a solo Batman movie, here's just my quick theory, but I'm willing to assume that Ben Affleck, when he signed up to be Batman, he made an agreement to direct his own solo Batman movie, which I think would be pretty awesome. So either way, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Which one of these movies are you most looking forward to, and which one do you not give a shit about? So either way, thanks for watching, guys. Leave your thoughts, your opinions down below, and I'll see you next time.